need to adjust
Okay, I
it.
want to share something with you that I put together this week. Probably should have shared it last week, but I didn't have it put together last week. I didn't even own the little pieces last week. So, but I made up a little bit of a diorama here, and I'm going to put it where you can see it. And it's got what I think would have been the Leviathan and the Behemoth. And they are the sauropod and the plesiosaur. I put a little man down here. I marked him man so you can tell the difference between them. And, but let me just I wrote a little paragraph here. These animals are possibly the ones called Leviathan and Behemoth. This is a best guess scenario, using the descriptions of Job chapters 40 and 41, and investigating the remains found all over the world for animals which would best fit God's descriptions. The first dinosaur fossil was found in 1841, a Tyrannosaurus rex by British biblical creationist Sir Richard Owen, who coined the word dinosaur at that time. Since then, literally billions of remains have been found in various stages of decay, fossilization, petrification, including many samples with, and this is the kicker, many more recent samples have been found where they actually have found soft tissue and even red blood cells. Now that indicates something to us. They did not die millions of years ago. They were not extinct 30 million years before man appeared on the earth. That speaks to thousands of years of history, not to millions or billions. And we can look at all of the things that are presented to us under the guise of science. Now, why do I say under the guise of science? Because science deals with facts. Brother Ross said it this morning. You can have your own opinion about the facts, but you can't have your own facts. Facts are facts. It's truth. If you went to the Woodrow Wilson Museum, you would see etched on the outside of the building, truth is the only history we want to have left. Now that's important because we're dealing in truth. The truth is God created. The truth is He did it by the word of His mouth. The truth is He did it by His own thought and intonation. It isn't something that happened over millions and billions of years all by itself. Either you have an eternal God, or if you don't have an eternal God, then material has to be eternal. And material, because of the fact that it changes and changes structure and changes form, is not eternal. It's temporal. It's temporary. So either one or the other exists. We do not have any evidence anywhere that anything began as, well, first of all, nothing, and then somehow mysteriously a cell formed, and then the cell became a bigger blob, and the big blob became a fish, and the fish became a larger sea creature, and somehow they crawled up over the edge of the embankment, became sprouted legs, decided that it needed to evolve legs and lungs because the lung structures are different. All of those systems that are in any animal, whether it's a fish or a man or a cow or a dinosaur, those systems are intricate. Now, at the time of Darwin, they didn't know anything about DNA. The smallest they were able to observe with a microscope was a cell. And that was the tiniest particle that they could ascertain. But, you know, in this day, this is 2020, for those of you keeping up with the date, and in 2020, we now know that a cell is huge. Inside of cells, there are smaller particles, and smaller particles, and smaller particles that you and I, for the most part, don't know about, and some of us have never heard of. But we keep finding structure within structure, within structure, within structure. All of those written with a unique DNA code. Every one of them. That is specific to that creature or that little bit. Inside the smallest particle that we found, or that they found, I didn't find it. I couldn't even recognize it if I looked through a spectron microscope and saw it. But they say inside every cell there are billions. Not hundreds, not thousands, not millions, but billions of little mechanisms, little mechanical devices. Now, by mechanical, I'm not talking about something that's man-made or something that's put together with screws and rivets and all that. I'm talking about the fact that they move, they function, they have purpose. They are mechanical. Chance did not create that. God created that. And it has been so from the very beginning. The very oldest fossils they find, let's say it's a fossil of a pig, looks exactly like the structure of a pig today. And they say, but this is 100 billion years old. No, it's not. Let me tell you, let me ask you this. If they evolve according to need, how come the pig that needed to look like it did 100 million years ago still looks like the same pig today? Because God created kinds. And kinds reproduce after themselves. One thing does not become another. It cannot. One of the first lessons I learned in 9th grade biology 100 million years ago was that you cannot cross, in those days they said orders. Kinds are more like families. Families are what they used to refer to as orders when I was in high school, 55 years ago or something. You cannot cross kinds. Why? Because each one is set up in a specific arrangement to produce only that arrangement. Okay? Now, I want to take you over to Romans 1 because I want to show you where we are. This is not a matter of religion over science. This is not a matter of science contending with religion. Science belongs to God, not evolution. Science is knowledge and wisdom. The problem is that we get into when we interpret the facts. They want to interpret the facts, and by they I mean the evolutionists of the world, the so-called scientists. They want to interpret everything through the lens of naturalism. Everything came naturally. Everything produced naturally. Everything that is just the product of a series of accidents. You're an accident. Your mind. Now that may be true of me. But your mind is not an Exodus.